promoting and supporting some of the cornerstones of the American experience. It's all about family, faith, and freedom. Now let's get back to the Curtis Report with your host, Barry Curtis.
Thanks, and welcome back to the Curtis Report. You can check us out on our website, thecurtisinitiative.com. or thecurtisreport.com will take you to the same website there, where you can see photos and bios of previous guests, current guest, and future guest on the show, as well as different contributing columns like Larry Kelly and other folks, local politicians, as well as some of my columns that may be in there, or some of my blogs. So check that out. Love you folks. There's thousands of folks in Facebook, as always, and we appreciate no matter how you're listening, whatever call letter station you're listening to here in Texas or out of the state. We appreciate you listening to us, no matter how you're listening. On the show here. This is really interesting guest we have here. First time, I believe this is Dr. Brown's first time on the show here, but fascinating individual, some fascinating perspectives on medicine and research. And it's just fascinating, and I really want to get into this. I don't want to spend a bunch of time introducing him. I want to really get into this because I think you'll find it fascinating as well. I want to welcome to the show our special guest, Robert Brown. Dr. Robert Brown, welcome to the Curtis Report.
Pleased to be part of it.
Appreciate you being here. Let's get on record some of your credentials. First, tell us a little bit about you before we get into some of the specifics here that we want to talk about.
Well, I was given a beautiful gift of just a constant desire to learn, and I studied physiology at the University of California in Berkeley, and went on to go into University of California Medical Center in San Francisco, and studied dentistry there, and as well physiology. And I've continued to study in the field of physiology ever since, and it's been over 50 years. There are so much. Physiology tends to come up with research years before a lot of the medical research picks it up. For instance, there's some wonderful physiologists that discovered anti-aging methods and got the Nobel Prize for it in 2009. And so it's a wonderful field, and I highly recommend it to when I was an orthodontist. Kids wanted to know what they were going to major in college, and I said, that's my favorite major. But to go on from there, I had some catastrophes in my life that led me into the study of homeopathic and holistic medicine. And as you would like, I would like to go into that. And it's quite apparent that the way Western medicine has turned out to be recently is to give a pill, don't bother checking out what the symptom represents. Right. And as a result, a tremendous amount of people die under the care of doctors. Over 500,000 a year is admitted. But I think it's even more because we have cures for cancer now in alternative medicine that are not being acknowledged by the establishment.
And this is interesting. And let me ask you a question first of all. We can't. And this is kind of on the anti-aging deal. We can't, or can we? I'm asking. We can't live forever, right?
Well, I don't think anybody would want to live forever.
Right. So is it then a deal of the quality of life that we have as long as we may live? That's what I want. I don't want to live if there's no quality. Right.
And but we do. I find that. I don't advise somebody going into all these new developments to reverse the aging process unless they're healthy.
Right, right.
Because they're very expensive, for one thing. But the other thing is, what good does it do to pass 100 years old when you're sitting in a nursing home?
Exactly.
And I want to be out there shooting my wild birds when I'm 100.
So is it in the interest of medicine? Is it in the interest of pharmaceutical companies or medicine itself for us to be healthy and live a long, healthy life?
Actually, that's contrary to their goals. Their goal is to keep you full of symptoms so that you can buy their pills.
Right, right.
For instance, the pharmaceutical industry convinces the rheumatologists, which are the arthritis specialists, that diet has nothing to do with arthritis. When Dr. Colin Dong in San Francisco 50 years ago wrote a book called New Hope for the Arthritic, in which he documented thousands of cases of arthritis brought under remission by diet alone. And I myself was crippled with arthritis and had to have both hips replaced years ago before I started studying these alternative medicines, and I would never have had to have my hips replaced if I'd known what I know now. And right now, I'm 77 years old, and I'm in the best shape I've ever been in as far as resistance to disease and no arthritis any place in my body, even though when you take an x-ray of my body, I should have it because I've had so many broken bones, right, being a hunter and a fisherman and an athlete.
So you believe the cure for many diseases are out there, particularly cancer?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the pharmaceutical companies, I'm just throwing it out there, or medicine itself is making more money treating the symptoms of this disease than they would be for curing it.
As a matter of fact, they will go out of their way to destroy a company that has an answer. That's counterproductive to their profits.
And when we're saying they, are we saying pharmaceutical companies? Who's the they? Who's the face of that evil?
There's a couple of videos out, and one is called Second Opinion, and it's about the American Cancer Society actually working to cover up the fact that Leotril back in the 70s was curing cancer. And I'm witness to several people being cured with Leotril, and they were able to get it off the market and stop the research on it.
Do you akin to this a huge conglomerate? I mean, is it because it has to be a vast conspiracy? This huge conglomerate. I mean, do you akin to this similar to the tobacco industries in the 70s and 80s that continued to say, that tobacco was not addictive, that they did not include addictive agents in tobacco? I mean, is it a similar deal? Will it end the same? Will it take that kind of badgering and pressuring by public and brave public officials to come forward and to fight it?
Oh, it's exactly the same. And in fact, in the field of cardiology, Pfizer some years ago bought up a company that had found the melanoprotein that cleans the arteries thoroughly. It came from the discovery that a certain family in Italy had never had a heart attack, and they found that the men in that family produced a protein that cleaned the arteries. They synthesized the protein and were about to develop it when Pfizer, who's the producer of Lipitor, saw that as a threat, bought up the company, and shut it down. So I'm liable to get myself assassinated or something if I keep this up.
I mean, have you been in trouble? I mean, have you been threatened? Have you been maligned?
Not by. There are a lot of my friends that have. There's a Dr. Keith Scott Mumby who started in England. He now lives in Nevada, and he just wrote a book called Cancer Research Secrets, in which he really exposes. And he has had a lot of lawsuits against him, which were thrown out. And the founder of Leotril back in the 70s had his life threatened several times.
Right.
And so I think it's getting too big now. Alternative medicine is now approved in Harvard and the University of California and Stanford. So we're getting more and more. I think it's going to go the way of tobacco, and doctors are going to have to start getting off their ivory tower and realizing their medical education just gives the ability to learn, not to think they know everything.
Amen to that. Tell us how we can. We're running out of time here, but and I promise you, listeners, I know I'm going to get emails and text messages about this because they love this stuff, and I do too. So we're going to have to get you back on the show without question. Sure. But tell us how we get a hold of you. Tell us how we would contact you, our listeners, and to ask you additional questions, or just to check up on see what you're doing.
Okay, I have a website for my book. My book is Why, the Question That Could Save Your Life. But the website is Dr. Brown Why, all one word, .com. And I will be blogging on that with recent developments in alternative medicine, and there's a lot of my articles that I've written from magazines all in there that can be referred to.
Sounds
good.
And
my book can be bought on that website as well.
What we're going to do is we're going to put a link to purchase your book on our website. We'll make sure that's done, and also we'll get your blog on our website as well.
Sure.
I love this stuff. Dr. Robert Brown, we appreciate you being here, sir, and we'll get you back on the show there. Love the topic. But Dr. Robert Brown, and we'll get you back on the show. Thank you very much, Dr. Brown.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And we'll be back in just a moment with more of the Curtis Report.